Anyone next after Aaron? Ralph? Then Bruce?
Good evening. Erin Stahl, former St. Clair Shores City Councilwoman, and it also happens to be when I earned my Master's in Finance over at Walsh College over in Troy. I have a different way of looking at our budgets, and I hope it will be a shocking wake-up call how your money's being spent and leads to a different way of conducting our city business. Unfortunately, Councilman Rubino and Councilman Frederick missed the Budgeting 101 meeting at 3 o'clock today given by Plant Moran. Pretty interesting. The information there just reconfirms my information, even though it's a different way of looking at our budgets. The first slide is just an overview of all the departments. I put them into 6 teams that should be working together. In the center is the core city government team, which not only is city council, the manager, and the attorney, but it's also the residents and renters and business owners and the visitors of our city, their friends, their family, employees, and customers. I put them there because they all determine the quality of our city and dictate the quality of our services. The first of the 5 other teams at the top is what I call the foundation team: streets, sewer, water. Going clockwise next is the Protect and Serve team, which is police, fire, court, and I also added community development in there because of code enforcement and inspections, which all of those work together. The other 3 teams I'll talk about at another time. It's the recreation, core support, and retirees and insurance. The next slide are the expenses of the different team according to our city budgets. What surprised me is the foundation and Protect and Serve teams together are most of the budget. The next slide looks at, did these teams cover their costs? No. The Protect and Serve team overspent by $11.2 million. This is a problem. Now, this is beyond the $2.1 million structural deficit in the general fund. My way looks at all of the money flowing in and out of each department as documented in the budget by the city treasurer. Different way of looking at it. The next slide. So let's take a closer look at the finances of the Protect and Serve team. The next slide. Let's see where this team spent their money over the last 13 years. The top line in gold are the wages, red line, fringe benefits, black, everything else. The exact amounts are at the bottom. The green vertical line in the middle of the chart represents when our community was charged for the police and fire operating millage. Note between the 2 yellow arrows the extreme increase in fringe benefits. The next slide is just the fire department. Note the only extreme increase I see is between the 2 yellow arrows for the fringe benefits. The next slide is only the police department. Again, between the 2 yellow arrows is another extreme increase for fringe benefits. Remember, we were told that the police and fire millage was for operations of police and fire and for our community's safety. All I see is a huge bump up of their benefits package. The victims are, first, we the public. Second victims, the men and women of the police and fire department. We're the victims of the past and present administration and union leaders who have misled us about this millage. No more, you have the truth. The last slide. Analyzing the budgets my way, I'm disgusted at looking at this chart of the millage rates. Now mathematically, these correspond to the dollars we are paying out of our pocket. Note all our steady straight lines over the last 14 years except the pension for the police and fire. It's that disgusting diagonal blue line in the middle of the chart. In my opinion, this clearly indicates bad or weak city negotiators up against highly skilled union negotiators. This chart makes me wonder who in the negotiation is looking out for us, our family's future, and our wallets. Note the yellow arrow before the big spike. This is where we changed city managers from Mark Wollenweber to Ken Podolsky, and we changed our main city negotiator from Linda Palladino to Mike Smith. At the next meeting, I'll talk more about these problems and, more importantly, my solutions. And I have a list of them as I was going through these charts. You know what? Call me, question me, debate me, bring it on. My phone number is 774-8181. And if there's any questions here, more than willing to answer them.
Well, your 5 minutes is up.
Okay.
However, you're insinuating that we are collecting money from the police and fire millage and taking that money and addressing pension costs or health care costs, which is not the case. We have two separate pots. You know what, Erin, your time was up. Ralph can come to the podium, but I'm going to answer the question, at least part of it. You're insinuating that we are collecting police and fire millage, a separate dedicated millage, and putting that toward pensions and medical costs. That is not the case. Those are two separate funds. That millage, the 3-year millage, goes into the general fund and does work. You can say however you want. It's a general fund put into the general fund versus the police and fire pension millage, which takes care of the medical costs and the pensions for the police and fire departments. You're trying to insinuate we are mixing that millage and helping and assisting in the pension costs and medical costs. That is not accurate. That is not accurate. And I would like to remind you also, this body, although it's not Mr. Vitale, Mr. Tissio, or Mr. Karen, fought very hard in the last police thing, and we took it all the way to arbitration, the very limit that we are allowed to do. So we have fought very hard in negotiating contracts, specifically the last one at the police department. Whether we were successful or not, I don't care to get into that, but we worked very hard and took it to all the way to what we could do. So we work hard on that. So it's Ralph's. It's Ralph's.
My 5 minutes. I'll speak at other council meetings in more detail.
Thank you.
To answer all of your questions.
Thank you.